I'm delighted for the opportunity to have a conversation with Ted Keegan today, who's one of the Susquehanna Valley Chorale's most favorite guest performers. Ted has sung 2 Pops concerts with us in the past, and he was the featured baritone soloist in Robert Cohen's Alzheimer's Stories, which we premiered several years ago. Ruth and I had the opportunity before COVID hit to go to New York City and see Ted in Phantom, where he now is the 12th Phantom playing and singing this role. So, and that was such a delight for us. And we are looking forward to hopefully being back for our season 2021 to 22 to have Ted sing in our Pops concert that season. Will be May of 2022. So Ted, it's so great to see you and to have you have a little bit of a time to have a conversation with you. COVID hit us all and has affected all of us drastically. Tell us a little bit about you personally, your husband David, your colleagues, how this has really affected you.
Well, it's good to see you, Bill. It's so nice to be able to sit in and chat with you for a little bit. This has been astronomical, actually, for my business, certainly. On that Thursday, March 12th, which is a date that will never be erased from my mind, we had a matinee that day. And during that matinee is when we heard that more than likely Broadway would be closing down that night. We had a meeting with our company management in between shows, and we were told at the end of that matinee that we were going to be closed for a month, and that on April 12th we would all be coming back. And that date was moved from the 12th of April to June to September to January, and it's now the 30th of May of 2021. So well over a year for us. I can't imagine having to go through this alone. I'm so thankful that I have my husband and we're here together. And so who I worry about the most are the people who are in my company who are single, who lived in the city in a studio apartment or 1-bedroom apartment, and were sent home that day. And they were in the city of New York, where it wasn't the epicenter at that point. And so many of them didn't have the, it was overwhelming in the fact that, you know, you wanted your food, you wanted your drink, you wanted everything in your apartment, because honestly, for quite a few people, they did not leave their apartments for weeks. And once they finally did leave their apartments, it was overwhelming for them. They'd be out on the street for about 5 minutes, and then that anxiety would start to kick in, and all they could think about was getting back home. Everybody's doing better. It's a day by day thing, as it is for all of us.
We can see a little bit of your apartment, and so tell me about some of the things that you've been doing while you're kind of holed up here. And I'm really interested in those instruments behind you, what they all represent.
It's, well, I'll start with what we've been doing. The first 2 weeks, I slept like a rock. It was, I think the whole thing was a little overwhelming, and I just slept like crazy for a couple of weeks. Sure. And then, we were heading into spring. So I'm actually lucky enough to have a place up in the Hudson Valley. So that's where David and I are. And David had a list for me. So we started working outside, and we were digging holes and planting and trimming trees and making ideas and concepts for what we wanted to do outside. And we got an awful lot done. We got a ton of stuff done outside, and realized that all of those little things that you plan on doing on a weekend, those little things you plan on doing, they take weeks to get done. So nothing is simple and easy. And then I really put myself on a regime. I made myself get up in the morning, and I would sit at my piano for 45 minutes to an hour and start practicing again, and making friends with my piano, and warming up and trying to learn new music, and making myself, work out 4 to 5 times a week. And it's really been amazing in the fact of how quickly the day goes by. 5 o'clock is there before you know it. So it's getting myself into a regime for myself of what I do day to day has really been a huge help.
Sure.
Creating some form of a schedule for myself. What you see behind me, actually, this ukulele was given to me when I was maybe 7 years old for Christmas from my parents. So I started playing that way back when. I'm not going to put you through that now. And there is a bugle that is right next to that. And my dad was the bugler for his Boy Scout group when this would have been back in the 30s. So my dad gave that to me about 20, 25 years ago. So, and David had a little stand made for it. And so that's my dad's bugle. And he's pretty much the only person who could make a sound come out of that. It's next to that is actually David's trumpet from when he was in high school. He took lessons, and so that sits there. And next to that, in the corner, is actually David's father's clarinet. And when David's father was in the service, he played the clarinet in the band in the service. So it's kind of fun. It's all historical stuff for us, and I'm a stickler for that kind of thing. I'm big on genealogy and family history and all that kind of stuff. So all that means a lot to me.
That's wonderful.
Isn't that fun?
Oh, it's great fun. When you aren't holed up in your abode there, are there places that you have been or that you enjoy traveling to? I know for a while you were performing in Las Vegas, but I'm thinking in terms of not so much work-wise, but just fun vacations, fun times away. What you like to do?
That's a great question. I haven't really had a lot of those opportunities. The majority of travel really has been linked to work. With work, I've traveled to Germany. I spent 6 months in Germany traveling all over the country. And work took me to Portugal and Spain and Senegal and Africa. And one of the first jobs I had when I got out of school was working cruise ships. And so right out of college, I was working cruise ships, and they took me all over the place. I've been through the Panama Canal 8 times. But so I went to Costa Rica and Mexico and the Netherlands Antilles, and but I have had a couple of times when I've actually just gone on a vacation. I went on a beautiful cruise to Alaska, which was a joy. I wasn't working that one.
Beautiful, yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. And to London and to Paris and to Venice and to Rome. So yeah, there's Venice is magical to me.
Oh,
I mean,
I know. Yeah.
Just wander around to get lost. That's the best thing about it.
Tell us about maybe some other roles that you've played, some other singing positions that you've had.
Well, when I was in my 20s, the first job I actually got on Broadway, I made a pact with myself. I said, if I don't have something on Broadway by the time I'm 30, I'm done. I'm going to do something else. So I was 29. And my first show was the first revival of Sweeney Todd, which I completely fell in love with. And I was covering the role of Anthony, the young lover. So I got to sing Joanna and just beautiful. It's a beautiful score. I couldn't wait to get to work every night. So that was my introduction to Broadway. I then was on the road with Robert Goulet and Camelot for a little over a year, which was a lot of fun. I covered the role of Mordred, but my regular track on that was the third night from the left. But I went on for Mordred quite a few times, which was a lot of fun to do, and kind of fun to have the opportunity to work with somebody like Robert Goulet, who had been around for decades and had one of the most amazing instruments, just this beautiful, lush, rich sound, which he still held on to at that point. And then let's see, I think this is something everybody should have to do who's in the performing arts, is to be a swing in a show, which means that you cover goodness knows how many, 3 or more people. And so I was in the Broadway production of Cyrano the musical, which lasted for about 9 months. And I initially started with 7 roles. And with Cyrano, everyone was in sword fights. So you had to learn the choreography of both sides of a sword fight, which was crazy for my head, but it was an amazing experience. And then after I had those 7 down, then they started adding on other ones, because there were 2 male swings for that show. So if more than 2 people were out, they were in trouble. So
did you always know you wanted to try musical theater and to go that route, or?
I started singing when I was really small, and so the first things that I did were oratorios, and being a boy soprano in an oratorio, and then getting involved with like a local choral society when I was a kid, and so really the core of what I started with was more classically based.
Sure.
My undergrad and graduate degrees were both in vocal performance with an opera emphasis. So that's what I studied. Once I got out into the real world, the doors that really started to open up for me were musical theater.
Right.
And so, which I loved. And I did an awful lot of it when I was in junior high and high school, and also in college and graduate school. So it wasn't like it was an unknown to me, but that's where the doors opened up, and I kept walking through those doors, and this is where I ended up. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah, obviously you do. Obviously you do. I remember you sang Sarah Lee for us at one of the Pops concerts, and it just brought the house down. It was so much fun. And I think when we bring you back in 2022, that's got to be on the program. And of course you did some things from Phantom as well, which we loved.
Yeah, Sarah Lee's one of my favorites. It's it's a Kander and Ebb piece, and it's a trunk piece, which basically a trunk piece is something that wasn't written for a show. It's just something that was written on its own. And Fred Ebb was a very good friend of ours, and to be able to sing his songs, means an awful lot. But it's a great number. That's a great number.
Yeah, it really is. I asked you when we talked about you doing this conversation, if you would be willing to sing something for everyone. And you agreed wholeheartedly, which I'm so pleased. And so I'd like to end our time together today with you singing a song for us.
That'd be lovely. This is a Friedman piece, which was also, it's a what you would call a trunk piece. It wasn't written for a specific thing. It was actually written for a specific person. It's kind of where our heads are right now, and it's kind of uplifting, and it just really talks about the fact of how at times like this we just really need to think about it, and we need to be there for each other and help each other out. So many things we can't control, so many hurts that happen every day, so many heartaches that pierce the soul, So much pain that won't ever go away. How do we make it better? How do we make it through? What do we do when there's nothing we can do? We can be kind. We can take care of each other. We can remember that deep down inside, we all need the same things. And maybe we'll find, if we are there for each other, that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. And maybe we'll find true peace of mind if we always remember we can be kind.
It says it all. Yeah.
Thank
Wow. So beautiful. So beautiful.
Thank you.
You
so
know,
much.
yeah, music speaks so loudly when words cannot.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I think that's one of the most difficult things is at this time when we need this so much, we're not able to have this interaction face to face.
Ted, thank you so much for your time today. It's been
Thank you.
fabulous. I've enjoyed every minute.
So have I. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay.
I know. We do too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Cause I'm living in paradise when I'm nibbling apple spice from the kitchens of the one I love, wonderful Sarah Lee. Oh, Sarah Lee, how I love that Sarah Lee. Cousin Milton works at the Hilton. He caters back